The modern glass conference room at Fonseca Motores in Lisbon buzzed with frustrated energy. 15 of the company's top engineers stood around the central workstation, their faces showing the strain of 3 weeks spent chasing a software bug that threatened to delay their revolutionary electric vehicle launch by 6 months. Miguel Fonseca, CEO and single father of 6-year-old Sofia, paced behind the group with controlled tension. At 34, Miguel had built Fonseca Motores from a garage startup into one of the most innovative car companies in the country. But today, he felt powerless against lines of code that refused to cooperate. "Run the diagnostic again," said Dr. Ricardo Santos, the lead software architect, his voice carrying the weariness of someone who had been staring at screens for far too long. "Maybe we missed something in the third-level integration protocols." The problem was as mysterious as it was critical. Their advanced driver assistance system worked perfectly in isolation, but the moment it interfaced with the vehicle's main computer, everything crashed. 15 brilliant minds had spent countless hours analyzing every line of code, every connection, every possible point of failure, and they were no closer to a solution. "Señor Fonseca," Miguel's assistant appeared at his elbow. "It's almost 6, Mano. Should I call Donna Ana and let her know you'll be late again?" Miguel glanced at his watch, feeling the familiar weight of trying to balance fatherhood with running a company. "Actually, ask her to bring Sofia here. I promised we'd have dinner together tonight, and at this rate, I'll be here until midnight." 20 minutes later, the conference room door opened quietly. A woman who looked distinctly out of place among the sea of engineers entered. Anna Martins appeared to be in her late 20s with blonde hair braided back practically and wearing a simple white shirt that had clearly seen better days. Yellow cleaning gloves protected her hands, and she moved with the efficient grace of someone who spent her days managing an energetic 6-year-old. "Daddy!" Sofia Fonseca burst through the door behind her, Ama, immediately running to Miguel with boundless energy. "Ana and I made bolachas, and we saved you the ones with extra chocolate chips." Miguel's face softened completely as he lifted his daughter, momentarily forgetting the crisis that had consumed his entire day. "That sounds perfect, Hikarita. Just let Daddy finish this meeting and then we'll have our dinner and bolachas." "What's everyone looking at?" Sofia asked with the curiosity that children brought to everything. "We're trying to fix something very complicated," Miguel explained gently, "like when your favorite toy breaks, but much harder to understand." Anna stood quietly near the door, holding Sofia's backpack and clearly trying not to intrude. But Miguel noticed the way her eyes moved to the large monitor displaying the problematic code and how her expression shifted from polite disinterest to focused attention. "Señorita Martins," Miguel said, "please don't feel like you need to wait. I know you probably have evening plans." "Actually, Señor Fonseca," Anna said quietly, "if you don't mind me asking, what exactly is the problem you're trying to solve?" Dr. Santos looked up from his keyboard with barely concealed frustration. "It's a software integration issue," he said in a tone usually reserved for explaining complex topics to people who wouldn't understand. "The autonomous driving system crashes every time it attempts to communicate with the primary vehicle network." Anna nodded slowly, her gaze returning to the code on the screen. "May I take a look?" The question hung in the air for a moment. Nathan noticed the exchange of glances, the slight smiles that suggested his employees thought Sofia's caregiver was being presumptuous. "Anna," Miguel said gently, "this is pretty specialized stuff. We've had our best people working on it for weeks." "I understand," Anna replied, her voice carrying a quiet confidence. "But sometimes fresh eyes see things that familiarity misses. Would it hurt to let me look for just a moment?" Miguel studied this woman who had been caring for his daughter for 8 months, realizing he knew very little about her. "Of course," Miguel said, gesturing toward the workstation. "Please." The engineers stepped aside with patronizing courtesy. Anna approached the monitor, her yellow-gloved hands moving to the keyboard with a familiarity that immediately caught Miguel's attention. For 30 seconds, Anna studied the code in complete silence. Then, without fanfare, she began typing. Within moments, she had navigated to a section of the program the engineers had examined countless times. "Here," Anna said quietly, pointing to a particular line. "You have a memory allocation conflict in the handshake protocol. The autonomous system is trying to access the same memory space that the primary network reserves for security functions. Dr. Santos leaned forward. But we've checked the memory allocation dozens of times. The addresses are clearly defined and shouldn't overlap. They don't overlap in static allocation, Anna explained patiently. But look at what happens during dynamic scaling. When the system load increases, the autonomous functions expand their memory footprint, and that's when they collide with the security protocols. She made a few quick keystrokes, adding a simple buffer zone. Try running it now. The room fell completely silent as Dr. Santos initiated the diagnostic program. Everyone watched as the two systems connected seamlessly without a single error message. "That's impossible," whispered one of the junior engineers. "Sometimes," Anna said gently, "we get so focused on the complex possibilities that we miss the simple solutions." Miguel stared at her. "Anna," he said slowly, "how did you know to look there?" Anna's cheeks colored slightly. "I have some background in software development," she said modestly. "Some background," Dr. Santos repeated, his voice filled with newfound respect. "Señorita Martins, what kind of software development experience do you have?" Anna hesitated. "I used to work in autonomous vehicle programming. Actually, before I became Sophia's ama." The revelation hung in the air. "You used to work in autonomous vehicle programming," Miguel repeated. "Where, when, and why are you working as an ama?" "I was the lead programmer for the Projeto Aurora at Innovatec Soluções," Anna explained quietly. "We were developing the next generation of self-driving systems until the company lost funding and the project was canceled 2 years ago." Miguel felt his breath catch. The Projeto Aurora had been legendary. "You were lead programmer for Aurora?" Dr. Santos's voice carried a mixture of awe and disbelief. "It was," Anna agreed sadly. "But when Innovatec went under, our skills didn't translate easily, and industry rumors made it impossible to get interviews." "So you took the AMA position because you needed work?" Miguel asked. "I took the AMA position because I love working with children," Anna said, her voice growing stronger. "I have a master's degree in informatics engineering and 5 years of autonomous vehicle experience, but I also have a 6-year-old who thinks I'm the best bolacha maker in the world. Both things make me who I am." The room was completely silent. Miguel looked at this remarkable woman who had been living in his house, caring for his daughter, and carrying the knowledge to solve his company's most critical problems. "Anna," Miguel said carefully, "would you be interested in a different kind of position here at Fonseca Motores?" Anna glanced at Sofia. "Señor Fonseca, I appreciate the offer, but Sofia needs stability. She's already lost her mother, and changing caregivers again would be difficult." "Who says anything about changing caregivers?" Miguel replied. "What if we created a position that allowed you to do both? Chief of Autonomous Systems Development with a schedule that ensures you're still here when Sofia gets home from school." The offer revolutionized not just her career, but the entire culture at Fonseca Motores. As Chief of Autonomous Systems, Anna combined technical brilliance with the patience that came from explaining complex ideas to a curious 6-year-old. But more importantly, she continued as Sofia's caregiver. 6 months later, when industry magazines wrote about Fonseca Motores' breakthrough technology, Miguel always smiled. He knew the real story was that the most valuable expertise sometimes comes from those who understand that solving complex problems requires both technical knowledge and the wisdom that comes from caring for what matters most. The best business decisions happen when you recognize that brilliance often wears yellow cleaning gloves and measures success not just in code that works, but in children who feel loved and secure.